My 28 husband, 29M, asked me to open our marriage because there's a girl he likes, and my world is crumbling down. My husband, 29M, and I have been married for about 8 years. I always thought we had a great relationship. Obviously not perfect, but we have had great communication, and he has always been supportive of my hobbies and career decisions. We have had hiccups along the way, but I feel like we always got through it. I actually read things like this every day, and I never thought I'd be writing one. But I'm at a loss. I'm so confused, and I don't know what to do. A few weeks ago, he came to me, extremely upset. I asked him what was going on, and he didn't want to tell me at first, but I insisted. I was concerned for him as he didn't seem like himself. Honestly, I noticed something had been off with him for a few months now. He's been coming home late, and when he was home, he'd usually be on his phone. He then proceeded to say that he thought he was poly. A little backstory: some years ago, I came out of the closet to him. I figured out that I was pansexual, and he was the first person I told. He wasn't as supportive as I could have wished, but he was there for me to talk. He asked me if I wanted to explore. I said no. That's not why I was telling him. I was having a really hard time, and just wanted to figure myself out. I never wanted to explore. I just happened to figure out that I wasn't only attracted to men. It's been a crazy journey for me, but I'm at a better place in terms of accepting my sexuality. Anyway, he says that he thinks he is poly. Just like that. My gut instinct tells me something is wrong, so I ask him who. He goes on to say that he can't control it. He can't help it. I ask him again, who? And he comes clean about a coworker that he has developed feelings for. He claims nothing has happened between them, other than flirting here and there. And him letting her know he thinks she's attractive. But besides that, he says nothing has happened. He says they have a connection, and it's been eating him alive. My whole world came crashing down. At that moment, I felt like he was asking for permission to cheat. He brings up how bad he felt and how terrible it was when I came out to him. I felt that he was comparing the situations and that he always expected me to ask him to let me explore, which I felt I'd made clear so many times. I was angry with him whenever he would send me thirst traps of women, and eventually he stopped sending those, but there were jokes here and there since. I don't want to have a polyamorous relationship. To be honest, I humored the idea for a bit, but then I realized I can't. When I thought about what would happen between them, I went a little bat crazy, and I will admit it was probably not the right thing to do. But I did look her up and found out a lot of details on her, with just the little information he gave me of her. He was mad at me when I told him I did that. I asked to see their messages, because I was angry that it had been happening before he came to me. He said he had deleted them, and even if he did have them, he wouldn't show them to me, because it was an invasion of privacy. We've talked 3 more times since this happened, and every time it gets worse. In the most recent conversation, he asked for a hall pass. When I said no, he proceeded to ask for a break. I said fine, but our relationship may not survive after that. Now he won't talk to me. He keeps saying if he talks, he'll make things worse. I don't know what to do. I told him if he wanted to save our relationship, then he needed to cut his relationship to the girl. Keep it 100% work-only type of relationship. He said he couldn't do that. I asked him if he couldn't talk to her just about work, and he said no, because he can't help how he feels. I don't know what to do. Should I think or consider being poly? I want to try to save our relationship, but I don't know if that's healthy anymore. I don't like the idea of him having a girlfriend. It hurts so bad to even consider it. But it feels like he'll move forward with that whether I give him permission or not. I don't even know why I'm posting this. I don't want to talk to anyone IRL about this, because I know everyone will be mad at him. Comment where OP has replied. He's asking for permission to cheat, proactively or retroactively. I don't want to be that person that assumes someone else's sexuality, but it sounds like he's using that as an excuse to cheat, rather than him actually being poly. And he thought you'd agree with his actions because you came out to him, and now you have to respect his sexuality too. Now you've said no, he's tried to guilt you into agreeing by telling you he had a difficult time when you came out. I'm not saying he definitely isn't poly, just that his behavior suggests that he's not concerned about your feelings or boundaries at all. Honestly, the sending you thirst trap pictures is also a bit of a red flag to me. Kinda sounds like he was hoping to capitalize on your coming out by encouraging a threesome, or at least a fantasy of one. Or he was hoping you would want to be with other people, so he'd have permission to cheat. I know this is Reddit and you've summed up a whole relationship in a few lines, but as far as I can see in what you've written, it doesn't sound like he was respectful or supportive of your coming out until he figured out a way it might benefit him. OP. It's the fact that every time we have a conversation about this, he finds out a way to bring up, "When you came out, I felt this. And it feels like my sexuality or me coming out has nothing to do with what's happening now." Commenter. He was hoping so hard that you would want to experiment so that he could see other people too. He's resentful because you said no and denied him the same. He's already begun his relationship with her and he's not going to end it. Girl, follow through on your word and choose not to resume the marriage after the break. OP. I know he wants to sleep with her. I figured it out when he asked for the hall pass. I guess I just wanted to hear what I've been denying myself since this started. Comment. You don't think you are poly. It's not a sexuality like being homosexual, pansexual, etc. It's a lifestyle choice. If he hasn't already gone there, he's asking for permission, but sounds like he's hell-bent on imploding his life one shit choice after another. I'd be making an exit plan. I needed to hear this. Being poly is a choice, but yet he keeps saying he can't help it. Moving on to story 2. I am a replacement father for my GF. I 22M started dating my 21F girlfriend when I was a freshman in college. We both met in high school, but didn't interact much until I invited her to join my D&D group. After that, we quickly became friends and then started dating a few months later. At first things were fine. We dated long distance as I went to college across the country, and she was saving up back in our hometown. She got a job fast and life got busy. We made sure to spend plenty of time together whenever we could. Eventually, she decided against college for herself, since she had always struggled in school and was happy enough at her job to seek opportunities there. It started with little things. Her words to me got progressively more childish. No problem. Maybe it was just her getting more comfortable in our relationship. She started acting more ditzy when we were both around other people. She would even pitch her voice up a little and have giggle fits when I would give her compliments. Also, no problem, I thought she was just happy to be in a relationship as we are each other's first real partners. We went through a lot together. A nasty friend breakup, death in the family, sickness, and many stressful days. She took a trip to see me, which was supposed to be a friend's trip with another person, originally 2 others, but one couldn't get work off. On this trip, she started acting much different. She would act helpless and moody around me, unless I was touching her. I don't have extreme touch issues, but I do not like touching all the time and really value my personal space, something we had discussed quite a lot beforehand. She would act extremely sad and would not talk with me or the friend unless I was touching her. It got so bad, the friend had to pull me aside and ask if I had promised my GF that this was supposed to be a couple's trip. I had made no promise like that. It was supposed to be a friend trip to show my college, the city, and make a day trip to a theme park. It made the week very awkward. I had to apologize to that friend many times during the trip. Again, I excused this. I thought it was just a reaction based on some work issues she was having before the trip, and a possible miscommunication on my end over what kind of trip it was. I like sightseeing and she likes staying in. Little did I know it was the start of a pattern. Another very important piece of information is that my GF does not have a good family. Her mother was verbally and emotionally abusive, and her father was absent most of her childhood due to working third shift. She loves her father, but now he's moved on and gotten remarried to someone across the state. She only sees him now on birthdays or the odd barbecue at his house. This family situation has left her with some emotional trauma and baggage that we have discussed before, and I was completely fine with before going into the relationship. Recently, things have taken a strange turn. My GF has stopped trying to maintain her mental health altogether. She has always been resistant to therapy, too expensive, not ready, what if it's a waste, etc. But she didn't have many coping strategies to begin with. She has abandoned them all. Our relationship has started to become more dependent, and the imbalance has become clear even to outsiders. She will refuse to leave the house on days that she has off, on the possibility that we will hang out. She cries on group calls with our friend group, and if someone asks why she is crying, she will refuse to elaborate until I ask her one-on-one. And even then, she refuses to say it out loud and only texts. I felt myself start to become a sponge for her emotions and a stand-in for her decisions. Early in our relationship, she knew what she wanted. Now she can't even decide what she wants for dinner or what she wants to do when she has free time. I tried to help her narrow down her decisions, but then she would spend hours choosing and end up becoming upset because she never chose in the first place. Then it became easier to enable. I would choose for her. I'm not proud of that. She also began to get more emotional triggers. Things like movies with themes of motherhood, any adult joke that is more explicit than PG-13, and any mention of things that could give her FOMO. I can't show some of my favorite movies or shows at all, but I can't tell her that, because then she gets upset because she is missing out. I am her only source of emotional regulation. I know it. I feel it. I'm tired. I have to tell her to do things she needs to. When I'm back in our home state, I have to give her rides from work because she gave up learning to drive. When I evacuated because of a hurricane, I had to comfort her because she is just so scared of storms, rather than allow myself to feel the fear of losing my car and apartment. I pity her because I know she can't help it. But I resent her because I know what I am. A parent. I make sure she's drinking water, that she is eating meals, that she is keeping up with her friends and hobbies, and that she is getting things done she needs to. I've been doing this for a long time. Those behaviors that I dismissed as just a one-off so long ago have become regular occurrences. A few days ago, a friend pulled me aside and told me bluntly that she could tell my relationship is making my mental health much worse. At first, I was shocked. But after that conversation, I realized my hair is graying from stress. I've started picking at scabs on my head again, and the insomnia I developed after the hurricane might be stress-induced. My needs aren't being met because every day I have to make sure my GF isn't at a critical level of depressed. I am her emotional support, her guardian, her stress management, her self-worth. If I am not capable, nobody in our relationship is. I resent her for that, but when we talk and I see her eyes, I pity her all over again. I haven't been able to seek comfort in a long time because recently, when I have, I end up having to comfort her instead. I recognize this isn't healthy for either of us, but I live in fear of what happens if I break up with her.